Welcome back, Egyptology lovers. Today we are doing plate 30 of the Book of the Dead. This plate presents the introduction of chapter 125, one of the most important of all the texts in the Book of the Dead, judging from the high proportion of papyri which are included. Now, the text of this chapter runs from the canonical right to left direction, so this moves in the actual appropriate direction from right to left, as opposed to what we were doing before with retrograde from left to right. On a closer examination of the papyrus, we can see that the reason for this peculiar switch in direction between two chapters is very simple. The material on this plate is actually from two different papyrus sheets which have been pasted together. So you can see the discoloration between right over here, which seamlessly looks like as if they are the same, but they're actually two different ones here. And you can even see another separation over here. So 1, 2, and 3 have been pasted together. Now, Ani and Tutu are shown on plate 1 and 2 in their most elegant costumes, in postures of adoration before two offering stands heaped with profusions of food and flower offerings. These are being presented to Osiris, who appears with Isis in the shrine on the right side. So here we go. Ani and Tutu, his wife, with offerings to Osiris and his wife Isis, and the four sons of Horus right over here. These are being presented to Osiris, so who appears with Isis in the shrine. The same scene in the varying degree of elaboration also appears on plate 4 and 19. Now, this chapter is divided in several sections. The first part, which appears on this plate, provides this deceased with the correct speech to give when arriving in the Hall of the Two Truths, so right over here. Right over there. The place where the judgment takes place. Now, since Ani's heart has already been weighed and he has been found vindicated or true of voice, the placement of chapter 125 in this part of the papyrus might seem a little strange, but the purpose of this part of the chapter is to demonstrate to the divine council that Ani is knowledgeable about affairs on their realm and should therefore be accepted by the gods as one of their own. Texts of this sort often involve a question and answer dialogue with the gods, as is in the case here. So you'll see a lot of questions between Ani and the god himself. So that's pretty much what's going on over here. Just so you know, this is a shrine-like kind of a kiosk that you have over here. On top, if you have is the god Sokar, a very old god of Saqqara from the Old Kingdom, flanked by 9 uriai, or from what it looks like 11 uriai actually. And then you have here Osiris, who is mummified form, which means he is deceased, upon a little sign for Ma'at, which is truth. There is a lotus flower here that is basically a symbol of rebirth, and you have the four sons of Horus, which actually protect the four organs of the deceased, plus they represent the four cardinal points of direction. Osiris here is wearing the Weret crown, as well as he is holding the wasp symbol of power, the shepherd's crook of power, as well as the flail or the flagellum. Next to him is his wife and sister Osiris, who has her arm embracing him on his back as if for protection. She is holding the Unt symbol here of life, and she has also uriai on her forehead for protection. So this is pretty much it. So we're going to start here, starting from this direction on the right and reading all the way to the very end of the left. So let's do that right now. All right, so right over here it starts with chapter 4, entering to the hall. Right over here, the hall of the two, which is right over here, the two truths. So this is the two truths. You can see the double of everything. The ostrich feathers, the city gnomes, and the cobras. The two truths right there. Also the chapter for worshipping the Osiris, foremost of Westerners, which is a title. And this says now, word spoken by the Osiris scribe Ani, who is justified, true of voice, or vindicated. So this is the introduction to the particular chapter. All right, so it's over here now. I have come here to see your beauty. My two arms are in exaltation or worship to your, these two symbols here is name, your true name. Continuing now. I have come here when the fir tree came into being and when the acacia tree or the acacia was born. And before the earth created the tamarisks. Therefore, I shall enter too the secret place. Now this is EU, it's not pronounced. Basically introduces a new sentence up here now. I will speak, which is right over here, speak, together with Set, and I shall be friendly to the one who approaches to me, and the one his face is veiled falls because of the secret things. Continuing now here. Thereafter, he shall enter to the house of Osiris. Thereafter, he shall see the secret things of which are therein. This is EU, it's not pronounced. It's to introduce a new sentence. The tribunal, or the Great Council, of the portals are with the blessed dead. Word spoken by, which continues here, the word by, Anubis or Impu. 2. His presence speaks. A man enters from Egypt. Now this is another popular name for Egypt. It means Tamarib, which means the beautiful land. So this is another version of Kemet, or another type of Kemet and Desher. So this is Tamarib, beautiful land. So let's read it again. A man enters from Egypt. Thereafter, who knows our roads and our towns. I am satisfied with him. Now continuing up here. I smell his odor as one belonging to you. And he said to me, I am the Osiris, scribe, Ani, vindicated or justified or true of voice, in peace and vindicated, true and justified once more. So this is Osiris saying that he has met Ani and he has come into town and he knows him and he knows that he is satisfied with him. All right, now continuing here, this is going to be over here now. I, coming back down, have come, again, I have come here to see the great gods so that I might live upon the offerings which are in their victuals. I am, now this is a verb, am, so I am the limits, continuing up here, of the ram, or the soul, Lord of Jeddu, which is the Mendes. He has given for me to go forth as a Bennu bird at my saying, so that when I am in the river. All right, continuing up here, I, coming back down, make presentation, which is also part of here, presentation of incense. And I conduct myself in my kilt to the children while I am in 𝓿𝓼𝑖𝑛. 𝓿𝓼𝑖𝑛 is the southernmost border, the first cataract of ancient Egypt at the very south. So just the border, end of the border of Egypt. In the house of Satis. All right, continuing up here now. Now this is EU introduces a new sentence within the ideas or the paragraph. I have sunk the boat of the enemies. This is EU again, another sentence. I, continuing here, have crossed over to the pool in the Neshmet bark. I have seen the nobles, which is over here, the nobles of Athribis, while I was in Jeddu, whom I have silenced. So he silenced the god Athribis in Jeddu. I have caused that god to have power over, continuing here, his, back down, 2 legs, which is over here, 2 legs. While I was in the house, so while I was in the house of he who's upon the mountain, or basically you can also say, I was in the house of the one who is upon his mountain. This refers to Anubis. This is one of his titles. Continuing, I have seen the preeminent one, or the foremost one, of the embalming tent, which is again Anubis. Continuing, now this is EU again. This is introduce a new sentence. I have entered into the house, continuing up here, of Osiris. I have stripped off the bagwigs of those who are yonder. All right, now this is EU introduces a new sentence. Sometimes they add the I to indicate that a person is speaking. So for this particular case, it's ani. So continuing here, I have entered to 𝓄𝓈�𝑇𝑌. 𝓄𝓈�𝑇𝑌 is now considered a general term for a necropolis. And I have seen the secrets which are therein. I have hid the one I have found missing. This is the same thing again. A new sentence, EU, with the person indicating that someone is speaking here. I, or you, basically speaking to Ani, have descended to Naref. This is another district area in the Delta. And I, which is over here, I have clothed, so put clothing, to who are therein for being naked. Also, I have given incense, once more, to the women in the retinue of the commoners. So this is symbol for the common people, the commonplace, the commoners. The rehit, that's what it's called in the transliteration. Behold him, which is Ani. I have been told for concerning him. And I shall speak for when in your weighing in our midst. Now continuing here, word spoken by the majesty of Anubis or Inpu. Do you, which continues here, do, and then you, this know the name of the gateway, as many say to me. So this is a question that's being asked by Anubis. Now Ani responds back to Anubis in saying, the Osiris scribe Ani justified true of voice in peace, again justified true in voice, and this is what he says right up here in this section there. This you dispel the light is the name of the gate. So he's basically given the name of the gate to be opened to Anubis. Now Anubis is speaking and he says, saying in or said by the majesty of Anubis or Inpu. Once again, Anubis is asking a question. So here's the question. Do you, now this is introducing a sentence, so it's combined with it. So do you this know the name of the upper portion of the door, which is up here, and the lower portion of the door? And that's the question. And now Ani responds, Lord of truth, master of his two legs, for is the name of the upper portion of the door. And now the other one, Lord of strength, commander of the cattle, which continues here. Now they forgot to put it in there because they needed to fill Ani's information in here. So it's supposed to say is the name of the lower portion of the door, but it's not in there. So we continue. It says finally, so now that Ani has answered correctly and Osiris has given him permission to pass, and it says it here, pass you then, this you know. So basically saying that Ani knows. And then it finishes with Ani's title, the Osiris scribe, counting of offerings to the god and to all the gods, which continues here, in Thebes. Ani, true of voice or vindicated, lord or possessor of reverence, or the revered one. So there you go. That's the completion of the plate 30 for the Book of the Dead. A very interesting thing that note about this particular text is that it's very well written. The grammar is actually one of the best. It's very simple. It follows the verb, the subject, the adjective, and the pronoun, or sometimes with prepositions, very well placed in their right place. So pretty much as you read this, it flows. There's not a lot of convoluted sentences together, maybe only when you get to the end, but that's okay because they're rushing to fill the information. But overall, a wonderful plate to read and learn hieroglyphics from, so I totally recommend it. So thank you for watching. Please stay tuned in for the next plate, which is the one of the most famous plates, which is plate 31 of the Book of the Dead of Ani, and it's considered the chapter 125 continuation, which is the negative confessions. So that'll be something to look forward to.